Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome the fuck back. Let's just dig right into it. Terence Crawford versus Keith Thurman. Now, this is according to an interview that Terence Crawford's coach Brian McIntyre did with Fight Hype. Now, shout out to Fight Hype. And he basically stated that Keith Thurman would probably be the most difficult and most challenging fight for Terence Crawford in the welterweight division. And I have to agree with him, because if you look at a guy like Errol Spence, he's one-dimensional. If you look at a guy like Sean Porter, he's going to come in and he's going to be easy to be countered. And not saying that's an easy fight. It will still be a difficult fight, but I would still favor Terence Crawford in that, because Terence Crawford has more weapons. Danny Garcia's work rate doesn't seem to be enough to be able to challenge Crawford the entire fight, and he seems very flat-footed and slow. But if you look at a guy like Keith Thurman, who can move, who can box, who has power, he has a lot of the same intangibles that Terence Crawford has, so I think that would be his most difficult fight at the welterweight division, and these would be the two most skilled fighters and best boxers at 147. You know, a lot of fanboys don't understand boxing, and they think that Mikey Garcia is a welterweight. Mikey Garcia is not a welterweight. He's happening to be fighting at welterweight for this fight against Errol Spence Jr., so there's no reason to include him on this list. So you understand that boxing, we're talking about pure welterweights, guys fighting at welterweight on a consistent basis and putting their careers at the welterweight division. Now, out of the all pure welterweights, Terence Crawford versus Keith Thurman would probably be the best matchup. I don't see any matchup being better than that, because I don't see anyone being as skilled as that. And if I had to lean one way or the other in that fight, I'd have to lean towards Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has shown a vicious, blazing body attack, and we all know that Keith Thurman is suspect to the body thanks to Luis Collazo. And we also understand that Terence Crawford is the type of guy that can take up a fighter's weaknesses and exploit them. That's what Terence Crawford does the best. You know, size doesn't matter as much to Terence Crawford, because we've seen him in against much bigger opponents, such as Jose Benavidez, such as a Jeff Horn. And, you know, guys like to write those fights off like they didn't mean anything of Terence Crawford's. But if you look at it like this, that Jeff Horn gave Manny Pacquiao hell in that fight. Whether you believe he won or lost, he gave Manny Pacquiao hell. And when you look at the Terence Crawford versus Jeff Horn fight, it was never even a competitive fight in that regard. Terence Crawford dominated from beginning to end. So if we're being honest and unbiased, that we believe this will be a great fight, but I'd have to give Terence Crawford the edge to beat Keith Thurman. I just don't believe Keith Thurman even wants or is interested in that fight. As Keith Thurman said, that fight will have to wait till 2020. Once again, unbiased as always, is the Ibfp. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.